Welcome to the Snyder Outdoors podcast, where we make Western hunting simple. We talk hunting, family, and the outdoors. This podcast is brought to you by Western Hunting Manager. To begin your adventure of hunting the Western states, visit westernhm.com. Now sit back and enjoy this episode with Bo Snyder as he gets you one step closer to your hunt of a lifetime.
Put him down. I got him. This is one of the most exhilarating moments in my life.
What up, everybody? It is Bo Snyder of Snyder Outdoors, and thank you for joining me for another episode of the Snyder Outdoors podcast, the most trusted authority in Western hunting and the number one ranked outdoor podcast on Apple. Just kidding. None of that is true, but we're trying. We're having a good time. But seriously, thank you for listening to another episode, and this is where I do my best to make Western hunting simple. If you're a whitetail hunter who wants to learn just how to hunt the Western states, this podcast is for you. I make it easy. I want to make it easy for you to go on those hunts. There is 1,000 memories and good times waiting for you out in the mountains and prairies of the Western states, and I want to help you get there. So keep listening. Please share with a fellow hunter, brother, friend, enemy, etc., and so forth. Hey, we're starting something new today on the podcast. We're starting a new segment called Answer the Question. If you have a question regarding Western hunting, something you're not sure about, something you want our opinion on, you can email that question to bo@snydersoutdoors.com. Remember, Snyder's is plural on that, so bo@snydersoutdoors.com. Our question today comes from Jason in Michigan. I'm not sure, but I think Jason attended our live seminar a couple months back, and he started listening to the podcast. He also commented on a YouTube video we had. So, Jason, thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for sending your question in. So here is the question. If I wanted to go antelope hunting, can two hunters split the cost of a tag and share that tag as they hunt? Okay, great question, and I'm going to kind of clarify a couple things here. In short, no. A hunter cannot share a tag with another hunter. If you are carrying a weapon, you must have your own tag. There's no such thing as two hunters both carrying weapons and going after one animal, okay? Now, that being said, you do not need a tag or a license to go along on a hunt. I mean, me personally, the first couple hunts that I went on out west, I didn't have a tag. I just went along as the camera guy to record everything, have a good time, spend some time with the boys. And we've done that several times over the years. Sometimes all four of us have tags. The next year, only two of us. The next year, we'll alternate. So all that being said, you could have one guy who's got the weapon, has the tag, but you could have two or three buddies come along just for the fun of it. But if you ever got caught by a DNR officer or a game warden, out there walking around, and you do not have a tag and you're carrying a gun, especially if you're a non-resident, you're from out of state, that is not going to be good. You'd likely be banned from hunting in that state, maybe forever. True story. That really does happen. So anyway, great question, Jason. Hopefully that kind of cleared that up. Thank you for sending that in. Once again, if you have a question about Western hunting, mule deer, pronghorn, whatever it is, send that to bo@snydersoutdoors.com, and maybe I'll put it on the podcast. All right, so let's get into today's content. Yesterday, I was thinking I needed to create some podcast content. Didn't really know what I was going to talk about. And oddly, sometimes I can get stumped creatively. Don't know what I'm going to talk about. So I actually listen to some of my favorite podcasts, and sometimes I get ideas, and it'll just kind of trigger something in my head. And this actually happened yesterday. I was listening to the Nick Bear podcast. He's the creator of Bear Performance Nutrition. He's a hybrid lifter, runner. He does these big 100-mile races. He's kind of like a Cam Hanes a little bit, just a beast of a guy. And me, personally, I need more physical fitness advice in my life, so I listen to him a lot. Anyway, the other day, he had an episode, he was talking about how physical fitness is not easy, but it's simple, okay? He kind of ran with the concept of getting in shape and losing weight is actually a very, very simple thing to do. You eat good food and you exercise. Like that's like the most basic of physical fitness. But his point was it's not easy to do that because we have busy lives. We don't make it a priority, myself included sometimes. So his whole point was this: life and things we want, we actually know what to do. We just don't do them. And it got me thinking of how we actually apply, how this actually applies to Western hunting. The requirements for Western hunting out west, they're actually pretty simple. You buy preference points, you buy a tag, and you go hunting. Okay? But the process of those things can get kind of difficult, even for me. And I know how a lot of this works, but trying to tell all of you is actually kind of difficult because there's just a lot of moving pieces, a lot of details. It's dates, it's forms, licenses, applications. You have to figure out maps, areas, probably going to have to download Onyx Maps, book a hotel, take vacation, find someone who wants to go with you. Are you going to drive? Are you going to fly? What do I pack? What kind of gun do I got to take? And honestly, on and on and on the list goes, okay? And here's the thing. Today, I'm not even going to cover those things because all that complicated stuff comes later, okay? When it comes to Western hunting, I want to make you want to go. I want you to listen to me and think, dude, I got to try this Western hunting thing, okay? Because we all know this. When people get excited about something, they'll figure it out, okay? It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's, getting out of debt, a new hobby, whatever it is. If you get excited about something, you're going to do it. You're going to figure it out. And obviously, there's only so much I can say. I can only portray so much over a podcast or even over a video I record and put on our YouTube channel or something like that. But here's the thing. In this episode, I want you to catch the fever. As the guy on Saturday Night Live said a long time ago, I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell. If you know what I'm talking about, we can be friends. If you don't know, we can still be friends. So in my case, I went out west for the first time 10 years ago. And man, I got the Western fever. And I want to go back every single year. I wish I could go back a couple times a year. I wish I could go on 2 or 3 hunts, really. But it's just, obviously it gets tough with getting tags, getting time off, and all that kind of stuff, okay? So people don't know what they're missing until the day they do it for the first time. And this obviously applies to a lot of things. But when it comes to hunting, it's like, guys, you've got to try this. If you're a fellow hunter and an outdoorsman, hunting the West is awesome. It's just awesome.
So here you are. You're a hunter, and a good one. You've been dreaming of those Western hunts for a long time, but there's a problem. There is a mountain of roadblocks keeping you from the hunt of a lifetime. You just don't know where to start. There's the preference point system, purchasing your tag, selecting an area to hunt, applying for a non-resident license, the primary draw, and the secondary draw. Yes, all of these items are necessary for any hunter who wants to enjoy the Western states for antelope, elk, or mule deer. This is where Western Hunting Manager moves in to help you out. We here at Western Hunting Manager and Snyder Outdoors have over a decade of Western hunting experience. We have successfully navigated this complicated process, and we would like to help you do the same. In the simplest terms, a hunter chooses the membership that suits his needs. We collect your information, and we do all the paperwork for you. Let us save you the headache of all the research, hitting the application deadlines, and applying for your tags. Let us do that. Let us become your personal Western Hunting Manager. To learn more, visit westernhm.com. Western Hunting Manager by Snyder Outdoors.
I remember the first elk hunt I ever went on back in 2018. This was with Steve Chappell of Elk Camp TV. I flew out to Colorado and I was going to do I was going to be his cameraman for a whole week. And Steve, who was guiding, the hunter was there. We were just kind of talking about some things in camp before we went out. It was like the next day was the first day of the hunt. And Steve asked me, he's like, hey, Bo, will this be your first time on an elk hunt, right? And I was like, yeah, this will be my first time. And he kind of lit up and he's like, wait till you hear your first elk bugle at sunrise. You will be hooked. And I remember him saying that like it was yesterday. And I just kind of felt like, hey, let's go. Like I was absolutely psyched. Okay, I was stoked. So the first morning of elk hunting, it kind of looks something like this. All right. I'm not a great storyteller, but maybe this will paint a little bit of a picture of what that morning looked like. It's 5 a.m. in the foothills of the Colorado mountains. It's cold. It makes your breath easy to see. And even though it's really dark, you can walk past, you smell, you can see the outline of the Colorado pine trees. You can smell them. And the sun is just starting to peek over the hills. It leaves that kind of that glow in the sky in the morning. And we stop, and it's just dead quiet. All of a sudden, Steve takes out a little cow call. He gives a little, and then all of a sudden, I mean, it felt like Jurassic Park. This massive bugle just goes off and just echoes over the whole canyon. And I was like, no. Steve looked at me and he whispered, welcome to elk country. I have been on 12 to 13 different elk hunts with him since then. All right. And after the first week, I was like, Steve, I got to come back, man. I want to do this for you every year. And I did for quite a few years after that. I've been in 2 seasons in Arizona, right on the rim of the Grand Canyon. The bulls are massive there. I mean, I have footage of bulls walking by at 15 yards and they just look right at you and just scream. And your heart is just like, I can't believe I'm recording this. I'm imagining being the guy that has to pull back the bow, pull the trigger or whatever. And it's just crazy. And that was one of the most exciting experiences I've ever been on a hunt. I mean, I remember in Colorado, there's nothing like I've ever seen that compares to like the night sky in Colorado. You can see the Milky Way just as bright as you've never seen it before. And that's like every night. That's like every day. Okay. And I'm not kidding. Guys, the times that you spend around the fire, different hunters telling different stories, different people you meet in camp, the hunters, the guides. I've still met people that I've met, 5, 6, 7 years ago. I still keep in touch with them because you just have that bond that you create when you're hunting in camp. All right. Now I know you can have similar experiences in deer camp in Michigan or Iowa or Kentucky, wherever. But I have to say it just doesn't compare. I had no idea what I was missing until I tried this. Okay. And sure, I've got another, I sure hope I've got another 150, 60 Western hunting trips to go. And then, that might be a little greedy on my part, but I'm going to shoot for it. And this is kind of funny. My dad and my brothers and we've been hunting whitetail, as long as I can remember. Full seasons of hunting whitetails. Ever since I was a kid, okay? But this is what's crazy. I have more vivid memories of Western hunting than I do of deer hunting. And I have probably been on 4 or 5 times as many deer hunts as Western hunts. And things, it's just more, man, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like I'm not even doing it justice because I just don't have enough words, enough time to explain how awesome it is. You just remember more. You remember the long drives. You remember the weather. A couple years ago, we actually woke up in a blizzard. Seriously, the roads were shut down, highway was closed, so we couldn't get out of town if we needed to. I remember that. A couple years ago, my 2 nephews went along with us, and honestly, I was like, come on, guys, they're too young for this. They're going to ruin the hunt. And you know what? It was fun. It was an absolute blast. They got to see their dads both shoot an antelope. My nephew Cannon took 1,000 pictures, and he's like 6 years old. He will remember that trip forever. And I've said this before. I didn't go on my first Western hunting trip till I was like 26. Okay. Imagine the hunts and experiences and memories my nephews are going to have in their lifetime. I feel like I got a late start, but man, my nieces and nephews and my son, they're already stacking up preference points. Okay. They're going to have hunts of a lifetime when they're just 19, 20 years old. And why do I say all of this? Because I want this for you. Hunting the West has created 1,000 opportunities for memories, good times with family, and I want other people to experience this, especially as obviously other hunters, because they're just, when you find out someone's a hunter, you just have an instant bond, and it's just really obviously click with those people. That's why I try to get everyone to do this at least one time, because if you do, well, there's really no such thing as once, because once you do it, you're going to go back. I've literally never met anyone who has said, yeah, I tried Western hunting once. That was great. I did it once. It's like, no, it's always, oh man, I tried mule deer hunting 8 years ago and now I go back every year, or something like that. You know, it's just absolutely addicting. So here's the message of this episode. If you don't hear anything else, hear this and let it sink in. When it comes, well, really, I feel this way about all hunting, really, but especially when it comes to Western hunting, it's not about the kill. The joy, the experience, the thrill of Western hunting is not tied to actually taking an animal home with you. Now, a true hunter can pull the trigger and have a more successful hunt than someone who did. Okay, I really believe that. As the legendary Fred Bear said, one of my favorite quotes of all time: "A hunt based only on trophies taken falls far short of what the ultimate goal should be." Fred, I couldn't have said that better myself. Every real hunter knows that to be true. Okay, guys, one of the best times I've ever been in the woods, I've never fired my gun, I've never shot an arrow, because that's not what it's all about. I had someone who's not a hunter come up to me one time, and they didn't grow up hunting. He just didn't get the hype. And I tried to explain it to him like this: the best part of hunting is not the moment you pull the trigger. It's the 100 moments leading up to it. It's the 20-hour drive to Montana with your buddies. It's the truck stop coffee at 2 a.m. The uncomfortable cot you get to sleep in or sleep on, for a week in the tent. It's the first mule deer sighting of the week. The cheap shots and jokes you make at each other, and watching the sun go down over Montana, Wyoming, wherever you are. And you get to say, we always say, this is a saying we have: the day is dying in the West. Guys, this is Western hunting. These are the memories you just can't create anywhere else. There is magic here. Magic that every hunter should enjoy, experience, and go back to again and again. All right, that was a little bit of a message, but that is what this episode's gonna be a little bit shorter than normal. But I just had this thought. I wanted you guys just to catch the fever of Western hunting, and I could probably have a whole series on just stories and getting you guys hooked on things like that. But I'm hoping that just gives you a little glimpse of just what Western hunting is. All right, it's not about the kill; it's about the memories. Okay, so just think about that, and hopefully will get you one step closer to wanting to go on one of these hunts. All right. Hey, before we sign off, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of the latest video from Snyder Outdoors. If you didn't know, we have our Snyder Outdoors YouTube channel, and you can watch our full pronghorn hunts, mule deer hunts. I try to upload some short videos on Western hunting tips and little pieces of the podcast, stuff like that. We've started putting a video version of the podcast on there as well. So obviously this next clip will be much better if you're watching on YouTube right now. So hopefully just the audio will be enough to paint a picture. This particular hunt is a pronghorn hunt in Wyoming with my brother Seth of Snyder Outdoors. This is by far one of the most exciting hunts I have ever been on. I'm the cameraman. I'm behind the camera in this one. It actually probably is the most fun that I've had on a hunt where I was not shooting. Okay. Just a crazy, crazy weeks of ups and downs, wild weather. This is actually the blizzard that I was telling you about. I don't even know. I have some notes here I'm looking at. So it's kind of like, these aren't even good enough to explain how awesome this hunt is to me. it's just an absolute thrill ride of a week. So here is, we'll just show you just a couple minutes of it. And so once again, if you're on the YouTube channel, this will be a lot better. But hopefully audio will be good enough for you to kind of see what's going on. So let's check it out.
I love hunting the West for the adventure that it brings. As you get away from the hustle and bustle and out into what they call big sky country. The kind of country that reminds you how small you are and how big God is. As you take in the vast open plains, the majesty of the mountains, the beauty of the changing seasons. I love the camaraderie with fellow hunters, the memories made in camp, and the stories told around the campfire. And I love the countless life lessons that there are to learn from hunting the West. Like how every sunrise brings new opportunities, a chance to try again, to be better than yesterday. Knowing that through every valley, through every climb up the mountain, that beyond the next ridge is what we all really seek. Hope.
We're out here trying to make it happen. We're battling the elements. All the main roads are closed out of town, so we're trying to find little side roads to make it back out to our hunt area. All right, so we just had an absolutely exhilarating encounter. We came up to this piece of property, and it's hard to explain, but we don't know the total number, but we just saw hundreds of antelope. This snow has seemingly caused the start of the migration from north, heading towards the south, and we just happened to be at the right place at the right time to see all these goats.
Yes! Dude! No! I got him! No way! Yes!
All right, guys, that is going to be it for today. Thank you again for listening to this episode. Please, if you would, share this with somebody else, a fellow hunter, like I said, a friend, a brother, dad, somebody. Get excited about Western hunting. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer if you reached out to me. Bo@snydersoutdoors.com. Just send me an email, and I would be ecstatic to talk to you about Western hunting. All right, guys, I love you. Be nice to each other. Call your mom. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Snyder Outdoors podcast with Bo Snyder. Please take a moment to subscribe and also share this podcast with a fellow hunter. For more information on beginning your next Western adventure, please visit westernhm.com. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram at Snyder Outdoors and also view our full antelope and mule deer hunts on our YouTube channel. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time right here on the Snyder Outdoors podcast.